Swimming like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Hey guys, welcome to the Shrimp Tank post-show wrap-up. I'm your host, Tyler Huck. With me, as always, is my co-host, Allison Baines. And we'd like to thank our special guests, the Pernice brothers. We've got Ryan and Dan Pernice of the RO Hospitality Group. Again, if you want to check the entire episode, you can go to shrimptankpodcast.com or anywhere you listen to podcasts, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play. You'll find us there. We are one of the fastest growing entrepreneurial podcasts on the internet. We've got 3 questions for these guys. Allison, I'll let you hit them with the first one.
So you discussed the cockpit mentality when it comes to the restaurants. Can you expand on that a little more?
So a restaurant is the only manufacturing plant where you receive your raw goods in the morning, you do stuff to them, you sell them to the customer consumes them, and you receive payment all in one day, right? It's a manufacturing plant. And all of this huge bundle of processes happens real quick. So when I refer to cockpit mentality, one of the things I loved most about restaurants was when you do that right and your team is executing it well, and it's a busy Saturday night and you are busting it, but man, things are clicking on all cylinders the way they need to, that is an awesome feeling. So you're in this, cockpit where you've orchestrated all of this bundle of stuff that needs to happen. And everyone's just, okay, you're going to do this, you're going to take the order, you're going to make the order, you're going to go clean you're going to do this, and everyone's just doing their part. That's a really cool feeling, and that feeling of being the glue that binds that all together, that's what really gets me going about restaurants.
And I saw a quote on your LinkedIn, and it kind of feeds into what you just said here. But it says, I love restaurants because they demand so much of the people who run them. Is that kind of what you're talking about with the cockpit mentality?
Yeah, absolutely. What I find really attractive about the business of running a restaurant is in a given day, take today, for example, I woke up in the morning and had an interview with a back-of-house candidate. I then mopped the floors at Coalition because we're trying to tweak how we do that. We're here now for a marketing thing, and I'm meeting one of our regulars out for a drink a little bit later. So in a given day, you could be switching so many different hats. Accounting meetings, menu meetings, culinary tastings, talking with Dan about wine. You've got to be conversational in a lot of different things so that you can check in on whether or not they're being done. You don't need to be the chef, but you need to know if the food is cooked properly.
Sure. Makes sense.
And you absolutely spoke to the fact that it's really the experience of the restaurant is what keeps bringing people back, that the food can be great, the drinks can be great, but it's really the total experience that creates the culture. What goes into creating the experience of the restaurant?
A lot of personal contact. It's a lot of human interaction. It's a lot of recognition of people who have been there before. It's a lot of remembering their preferences and likes and dislikes, things about them. So, I mentioned that food has to be delicious. That's a minimum for entry. You must be this tall to ride this ride. Beverages have to be tasty as well, also a key element. But the way to put it over the top as a restaurant is to have that enhanced personal interaction between guests and employees.
Do we have time for a quick story?
Yeah,
Sure.
of course.
Okay,
Absolutely.
So I want to sort of bring to life what we're talking about here. So we had mentioned that you've got to have good food, you got to have good service, you got to have good all that stuff needs to happen. But that's what a restaurant should do, right? You don't really earn any extra credit for that. That's sort of the price of admission. So what we talk to our staff a lot about is, look, we really win and achieve our goal of making people happy when we take this to places that restaurants have no real reason to be. So an example of that I love, we tell this to all of our new hires. We put it in our training manual. A long time ago at Table Maine, this is about in 2012, 2013, 2 guests came in. We hadn't seen them before. They weren't regulars. They were celebrating an anniversary. They mentioned this to their server. And in passing, she said, yes, and we were so excited to go dancing tonight because I really love to go dancing. He always takes me dancing on our anniversary. But on the way in, my heel broke. So we've got to go home, and I'm a little sad about that. So the server told me, hey, anything we could do about this? Because, she was all excited. Now she's going to have to go home. So I drove out to Walgreens and bought a pair of shiny flip-flops and brought them back to this lady and presented them and said, and, with dessert, we wanted to also give you a pair of shoes because that's what we heard you needed.
Wow.
This lady and her husband dine with us once a year, only once, on their anniversary. They come back every single year, and she has put those flip-flops in a shadow box that she brings with her to the restaurant every time they come eat with us.
That's so cool.
So Julie
awesome.
Higley was our server when this happened, and she and I talk about how this is really our mission and our reason for being come to life, where, what restaurant would do that? That's the stuff we do that really takes our vision to life.
That's amazing.
That's a really beautiful story.
That's a good story.
Almost made me cry
Oh,
here
wow.
at the shrimp tank.
Well,
Sweet.
well, how do people get in touch with you guys or find out more about your restaurants?
Best way to do it, well, you can find us at the restaurants, first of all. But also, best way to reach me, probably email dan.pernice, dan.pernice, at osteriamattone.com. Simply the name of the restaurant. We also are frequently checking our social media on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter for the restaurants. And then Ryan's email, ryan.pernice at rohospitality.com.
Dan made a great point, though. We're always at the restaurants, though. So the best time to come and see us would probably make a reservation, tableandmain.com or osteriamattone.com or coalitionfnb.com, where you can make your reservation or we all take walk-ins.
Well said.
And that is going to be the Shrimp Tank post-show wrap-up. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Find us on iHeartMedia, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you download your podcast today. Thanks.
I've been feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.